Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So, we all know the Romans built incredible roads, aqueducts, and conquered half the world. But what if I told you they also invented some of the most hilariously bizarre contraptions you've ever heard of? Yeah. We're talking vending machines, automatic doors, and even a literal robot. No, seriously. Stick around as we dive into the weird side of Roman engineering that nobody talks about. Okay, let's start with something that'll blow your mind. The Roman Empire had vending machines. Yes, you read that right. In ancient Egypt, which was under Roman influence, there was this genius inventor named Hero of Alexandria who created an automated coin-operated machine around the 1st century AD. Here's how it worked. You'd drop a coin into the slot. The coin would land on a lever. That lever would trigger a mechanism, literally a complex series of pulleys and weights that would dispense holy water in temples for religious purposes. But get this, it gets weirder. The machine also came in a perfume dispensing version. So Romans could literally pay to spray themselves with expensive fragrances. In the year 100 AD, we invented vending machines for holy water and cologne before we invented paying with credit cards. And here's the kicker, the machine actually had an anti-theft feature. If you tried to use a fake coin, the mechanism wouldn't work. It was literally cheat-proof. So the Romans not only invented vending machines, they also invented fraud prevention. We really haven't come up with anything new in 2,000 years, have we? But wait, there's more. Remember Hero of Alexandria, that guy again. He also invented what many historians consider the world's first programmable robot. I'm not exaggerating. It was called the Tolos, or automated door opener, and it worked through an incredibly complex pulley system. But here's where it gets sci-fi. The Romans built a giant door-opening machine at temples that would automatically open the temple doors at sunrise. Like, imagine walking up to a temple in ancient Rome and the doors just open by themselves. What must people have thought? The gods are welcoming me? But the wildest part, the mechanism wasn't just triggered by time. It was sometimes triggered by heat. Heat from an altar fire would warm the air inside a sealed chamber. That warm air would expand, pushing liquid through tubes, which would pull a rope, which would open the door. It's literally a thermal-powered automatic door system. In the 1st century AD, we didn't have automatic doors again until the 1950s. That's nearly 2,000 years of humanity just forgetting how to open doors automatically. That's embarrassing. Okay, so we've established the Romans were obsessed with automation. But what if I told you they also invented something that was basically the ancient version of a flamethrower? The Romans used a weapon called Greek fire well. Technically, the Byzantines perfected it, but Roman engineers definitely played with it. This was a chemical mixture historians still don't know the exact recipe, which is hilarious, that would ignite on contact with water. Water, not air, water. Imagine that tactical advantage. You're defending a fortress. Enemy ships are sailing toward you. You launch Greek fire at the water. It erupts into flames. The enemy is now watching their boats literally catch fire because they hit water. It's the most Roman thing ever, making water itself your enemy. The delivery system, a tube-like projector mounted on the fortress walls. You'd pour the mixture in, light it, and it would spray flames like a dragon breathing fire. And this worked so well that it was a closely guarded state secret for literally centuries. Kingdoms would go to war just to figure out the recipe. We basically reinvented it as the flamethrower in World War I. So yeah, the Romans had military-grade incendiary weapons. Meanwhile, most people think they were just stabbing each other with swords. All right, Let's shift gears to something less burn your enemies and more actually useful for daily life. The Romans invented the odometer, the thing that measures distance traveled. Hero of Alexandria strikes again! This mad lad created a wheeled device that would measure how far a chariot had traveled. Here's the absurd part: it used the exact same principle as a modern odometer. A wheel would rotate. Gears would count the rotations. And every mile, a mechanism would drop a pebble into a container. At the end of your journey, you'd count the pebbles to figure out how far you'd gone. It's so simple, so elegant, so ridiculous when you think about it. Romans traveling across their empire with a device that dropped pebbles. But it worked. And somehow we forgot about this too and had to reinvent it during the Victorian era. We literally had to rediscover how to measure distance traveled. The Romans were making engineering gadgets like they were speedrunning the future. Here's a fun one. The Romans had a mechanical device for making random decisions. I'm talking about an automated coin flip machine. In public baths and entertainment venues, Romans would use this device that would randomize outcomes for games and gambling. It wasn't magic, it was a clever mechanical system with moving parts that would land on different positions. Basically, they had a random number generator. In ancient Rome, the wild part, this technology is so effective that the basic principle is still used in modern mechanical randomizers. They figured out randomization better than most people thought possible without computers. It's the ancestor of every mechanical slot machine ever made. So the Romans invented vending machines, automatic doors, flamethrowers, odometers, and gambling machines. Honestly, if you gave a Roman engineer a trip to Vegas, they'd probably have been like, yeah, we did all this 2,000 years ago, but cool aesthetic choices you've got. Now here's the million denarius question. If Romans had all this technology, why did we collectively forget about it? Simple answer: the Roman Empire fell. When it collapsed, so did the infrastructure, the knowledge networks, and the funding for continued innovation. A lot of these technologies required slave labor and government backing to maintain and improve. When that system crumbled, the knowledge got lost in the chaos. Plus, a lot of this stuff was expensive to build. It required specialized craftsmen, bronze parts, precise engineering. Once you didn't have an emperor throwing money at engineering projects, these things became less common. And when they're less common, people stop knowing how to build them. Knowledge dies with the craftsmen. It took humanity nearly 2,000 years to reinvent what the Romans had already figured out. That's not a failure of Roman engineering, that's a failure of history to preserve it. So there you have it, the Romans were basically running a steampunk civilization in bronze and stone. They had automation, they had precision engineering, they had secret military technology, and they had absolutely zero credit for it. Next time someone asks you what the Romans ever did for us, you can tell them, well, they invented the technology that took us 2,000 years to rediscover, but yeah, also roads. If you enjoyed this weird dive into history, please smash that like button, subscribe for more bizarre historical facts, and let me know in the comments what's the weirdest ancient technology you didn't know existed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.